It's hard to believe, but there was a time where Zeus was actually young, guys, born 10,000 years ago. In Marvel, there is a council of godheads. It's basically a union representative from Earth's various godly pantheons. Soon after Earth's creation, the planet possessed a rich, fertile biosphere, and you already know of the prominent members. You got a lot of Olympian information right here. Zeus is the youngest son of Kronos, ruler of the Titans, and his wife, and 5 other siblings were imprisoned in Tartarus upon their birth due to Kronos' fears of prophecy that they would overthrow him. Gaia hid Zeus in the cave. Upon reaching adulthood among mortal shepherds, Zeus set out to take revenge on his father, his adult siblings, from Tartarus. Zeus led a 10-year war against the Titans, ended with his victory after imprisoning his father and most of the male Titans within Tartarus. Zeus established himself in Olympus as the supreme ruler of the Olympian race. A millennium ago, when a war broke out between the Olympians and Asgardians, Zeus met with his Asgardian counterpart, Odin, to end the conflict and formed an alliance to protect Earth from extraterrestrial celestials and etc. You know you're a powerful Skyfather when you're a kid and you could take on the mightiest dark elf. That's what Zeus did. Bro be boxing it with Galactus. Being a Skyfather type character, Zeus can open up a portal to the realm of the abstract. That's the cool thing about being so high in the power hierarchy. Look how godly this Skyfather Zeus is. He appears as an astral projection, big old giant eyes in the air. And this occasion is dominant presence here. Or notice how he appears as a giant head in the sky here. Shows his head in the clouds to laugh at you. That's messed up. Zeus has divine power that can literally bring statues to life. One could say he has life creation, but let me get started with Zeus. It's been a while since I've actually made a video about a Skyfather or Zeus in general on the channel. They're those type of characters where I would call event type characters because they're usually too powerful to just pop up and over again in instances, especially back in the classic days when Skyfathers were highly regarded as being near omnipotent or whatever. Even though that's clearly an exaggeration, but regardless of it, these Skyfathers are still ridiculously powerful. Zeus himself in Marvel is too. Marvel incorporates different mythologies in their universe, but how strong is he? One could say he has every power known to man, or any power you can pretty much think of that's important. Skyfather, known as Zeus, a being that's similar to Odin in his hierarchy, is the guy that gave fire to mankind. Zeus is still a beast in current stuff because more recently he got an encounter with powerhouse like Nova, who's considered around the Thor ranges consistently. Zeus simply just blasts a literal lightning hole through him. They even say Zeus punched a hole in him. The only reason he's staying alive is because Nova force keeping him going. He has no problem physically lifting mountains over his head. Back in the classic days when Skyfathers were portrayed to be near omnipotent, look what he did to all our favorite characters. A version of Thor, Namor, even Spectrum of being made of light. Smack does this to freaking Hercules. At first he didn't know this was Hercules he was beating up until he realized that, yeah, Hercules was kind of getting handled. Like, whoa, letting you know the almighty might of Zeus. Respect him. Show a little bit more of it. How Namor hits him, he just looks like, did you really just hit me? She-Hulk tries to bear hug him, get off of me with his lightning ability. Ares even tries to pull up on Zeus. He said night night to you with his blast power. In this particular instance of this long fight with Thor, overpowered him to the ground in this occasion. Stupid Piers, he just crushes. Notice how he's unaffected by Photon's mightiest attack. Like, is that all you got? They're using the point where they was trying to use their brains, where they redirected his own power back at himself, and he can withstand his own attack and still was able to bounce back from all this, even though they used his energy against him. When powerhouses try to punch him in the face, he will just ignore your punches, literally. Don't ask, but Star-Lord has overpowered guns and try to use this on Zeus, and I'll let you get a visual representation of how it looks here. All of this mess, but it obviously didn't work because Zeus is right here. Usually the more top tier you are, the more willpower you have. Beings like Moondragon, who are good psionic beings, have trouble getting in his mind. When he was younger, Zeus survived blasts that could kill Hera. Odin is one of the few Skyfathers that actually get more screen time than Zeus, and when it comes to Odin, him and Zeus are comparable. Odin even considers these other Skyfathers worthy of even helping him out, letting you know his power in the hierarchy. It is right intent for Zeus and Odin to be equal. Not many flashy showings of his raw speed when it comes to the way they draw him on panel, producing after images or nothing, but they are stated that they move like meteors, and just kind of bum rushed Silver Surfer here, somebody that's one of the fastest beings in Marvel. Considering that beings like Odin can threaten all planes of reality, or Odin is saying being that can nullify Surtur's flame, that could destroy the Yggdrasil tree, the world tree, which is basically infinite. It exists in every plane of reality. Yes, infinite plane. Odin also shook the all 9 realms, aka dimensions or universes, universes with an S. You see it here and here. And these two are equals in power in the hierarchy. Him simply getting mad and shake the world. Yeah, them two clashing Skyfathers for you. Zeus and Odin. Dormammu even considered himself equal to Odin or Zeus. Notice how he used Odin or Zeus like they're interchangeable towards each other in power. This is how Thanos, one could say, sees the cosmic hierarchy and who at the very top, and you see Zeus and the Stranger, Odin, Galactus, Celestials. Not saying this right here is Bible, but it just kind of gives you an interpretation of how high he is in that power hierarchy for him to even be in this conversation in general. But then there's occasions like this to where he can't do crap to Celestials or cosmic type beings. So yeah, Zeus has fought other top tier beings like Nyx, with help split her soul into 3 pieces. He should be able to blast multiple universes. Clashing with Skyfathers can blast multiple universes away. It only makes sense in the power hierarchy, or they wouldn't even be comparable in the power hierarchy, considering what Odin can do. Well, he did rend the earth asunder with his blast power, or simply turn a mountain into dust with his blast, because why not? He even matched blast with this being known as Zeus, the Eternal, that looks similar to him and it has a lot of similarities. Turned Ares into a pile of ash. He is pretty savage though. He be killing multiple of his children, but that's none of my business. Hercules, you gotta know your place. Make an army scatter with a blast. Seems to one-shot Philip. Zeus did light up a realm of, one can say, infinite darkness. I guess the goddess Nyx, obviously. He can choose to freeze you if he wants to in ice. Blew away several Eternals here. Tiny storm clouds like this. He can grow his size really big, and he also can create a world-ending extinction level event type of flood if he really wanted to, like a Skyfather. I just think it's cool. If he wants to, he can just teleport some freaking demon away that are annoying. You can get an idea about how strong he is by how big he can grow. Grew big enough to eat a giant. Implied he can grow to the size of a mountain if he feels like it. Not only lifting him out, but kind of becoming the size of it too. Disguised himself as a pop star and became this being known as Storm. At least see the lightning bolt streak in his head. Yeah, that's funny. He can change his appearance when he feels like it. You don't know if he's even in the room with you. He could be a bull, thundercloud, just like a lot of deities can do. He can do power bestowal, like how he blessed Thor in this particular occasion, bestowing upon him a fraction of the life force of Olympus. He can take away your power or immortality, like how he was able to take away Hercules' immortality. Taking back the gift of immortality, he can simply wipe your memory, imply to have matter manipulation, or just raw blast power, because when Thor threw these rocks at him, atomizes them. He does claim he can scatter beings like Zeus' atoms across the 4 corners of the earth, but is that true? Maybe so. Had this girl for Hercules, made her disappear, can straight up turn invisible, just casually creates a tiny image of Earth to show Hercules. Being disguised ain't gonna cut it, cause he's Zeus, he can see through his tricks and games. Zeus's glory is so mighty, a woman died after seeing Zeus's true form. Yeah, you gotta have strong eyes. Zeus is kinda necessary for the universe, or one could say a fundamental aspect to where if he does get killed, like by a superpower being known as Nyx, since he's a fundamental aspect of reality and needs to exist no matter what. The gods of Olympus are more than just physical bodies. They are potent myths woven into our collective reality, and the universe simply is not ready to let them go. In a space beyond space, Zeus and his people are born again. Since he's closely needed in the universe, it's almost like a being like eternity would have to cease to exist for him to no longer be able to survive. It's like the universe literally will not let them go. They are needed. It's when he gave the Hulk the worst beatdown of probably his comic book career. Hulk sent him flying like one good time, but the rest, it was literally history. So I would say on average, or I would say consistently, Skyfathers are generally portrayed to be above your main tier powerhouse base hero, aka the base heroes that don't have temporary power-ups that make them surpass Skyfathers, because base heroes like Hulk, Thor, and etc. do have modes that can surpass Skyfathers like Thor with the King Thor, Rune King, Cosmic King Thor. Not to mention Marvel has been hyping up this series where Thor literally is a legit Skyfather, and the Hulk is apparently a good fight for him now, letting you know that the powerhouse tiers, even though they're generally in base state for the majority of their career, are considered below Skyfathers. They can get to that level of power if the story demands it. They get temporary power-ups, if they get their self, Hulk gets angry enough or whatever. But in this occasion, they was completely outmatched, even though it wasn't the Hulk's intention to win, but regardless, he just, Skyfathers are just crazy. Rib cage shattered, lungs collapsing. It is noted that he was trying to sacrifice himself for his family to save, but Zeus was just wanting to be a bully. He's physically stronger than all the other Olympians except for his own son Hercules, but then that can change anyway to where if he amps himself with super energy. So it's like, that don't even really matter. Then he surpasses Hercules anyway. So, but him completely resting and not using no energy augmentation, he's supposedly below Hercules with this little bullcrap 90-ton thing, even though we know they can lift gazillions of tons. That's just a pun, class system type thing. Do you truly understand why Dormammu saying this about Zeus is a big deal? This is the same Dormammu Dormammu, he casually talks about how he would take down the Celestials and stuff. Dormammu does. It kind of gives you an idea of his fullest potential. He's putting Zeus and Odin in his same conversation. Top tier Skyfather-ish Hell Lord type beings that can threaten multiple universes themselves talk about Dormammu's power. Satana says, "You're a fool, Mephisto. Dormammu wouldn't dare face my power." He said, "Dormammu ruleth alone the equal of what we five rule together, Satanus." So let you know, he's a little bit different from the different Hell Lords. He plans to take his empire, like Mephisto. Yeah, they're talking about how much of a threat Dormammu is. Dormammu is the same being that threatened the living embodiment of the universe itself, eternity, like just by existing. Dormammu was also able to hold his own against eternity to prove it even more. Yet this same guy had the nerve to compare himself to Zeus and Odin. Good Lord, that's some serious respect. Even if he's not exactly equal to Dormammu, that's an impressive statement for how Skyfathers are. I know it's hard to have respect for Skyfathers when you have Jane Foster Thor, who's a powerhouse tier indeed, fight a base Odin and give him some nosebleeds and stuff. I know stuff like this can be mad confusing because ain't Skyfathers supposed to be on a totally different level? Why is this such a challenge? This is definitely an exaggeration from back in the day of Odin being omnipotent. It lets you know how back in the day Skyfathers were treated as like kind of like event type characters when it comes to just battling them consistently and stuff. They would show up just to beat their tail, but then like you wouldn't see them again for a while. But nowadays it kind of ain't treated the same. Regardless of all this, the powerhouse tiers that we love can still reach their levels of power in special conditions or circumstances regardless though. But yeah guys, Zeus is a beast, respect him. He doesn't appear that much because he's too overpowered, but it ain't none of my business. But I also got to give a shout out to everybody that has taken the time to donate to the channel. Appreciate it a lot. Helps out a lot. Respect freaking Zeus.